Good afternoon, everybody. We back at you. This is part 2 of my documentary, The Day in the Life of James David. Today, I want to run y'all on a little course of, when I went away, some of the stuff that I went through while I was in there, some of the stuff that I learned, some of the benefits, some of the downfalls, and I hope that after I tell this little story, that a lot of you guys that are still in these streets, man, can get a clear picture of the reality of going to jail and with jail and duty. So I just want to start out by saying, like I said in my last thing, I did 14 years. It wasn't a good time. It was basically, learning experience, man. And, and all of you guys know that when you go through the system, you start out here at the 120, then you go to Rikers Island. When I was on Rikers Island, I went to HDM. Then, I went to court, and the judge basically sentenced me to 10 to 20. So, when you get sentenced, you go back to the island, and, they send you to C-74 when you go to wait to go upstate. And believe me, at that time, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go upstate. I'm getting ready to go do a bid. I thought I was something big. But when that state bus came to get me, drove me up to downstate, and them dudes came on that bus, it was a whole different reality, man. It was no more playtime, no more happy time. I was in big boys leagues. So, take you off the bus, take you inside of downstate, strip you down. And when I say strip you down, I mean not just strip you down to your clothes. They basically strip you of your humanity. Take everything from you. You know what I mean? Then they put you like in a circle, make you face the wall, strip you butt naked, have you throw your shoes behind you, and they basically just violate you, And basically what happens is they always look for 2 or 3 people that come on each bus to actually make an example of. And it just so happened that I just happened to be that person, one of those people that they wanted to make as an example. So basically what they do is they basically mess with you, taunt you, and then, the CO was like, I see you a big guy, you think you're a tough guy. Well, up here, we're gonna basically show you that you ain't shit. And basically what they did is they actually whooped my ass. And in the process of whooping my ass, it was either me fight back and get a new charge, or basically lay there and let them kick my ass and actually prove their point. So everybody knows I've been to jail and went to downstate. If you fight back, you're getting a new charge. If you don't fight back, they probably kick you, punch you, get your black eye, break a rib or something, and then you'll heal up. So like I said, it was 3 of us. I was actually one of them that got their ass kicked, and I'm pretty sure that everybody else that was in the room, they basically got the lesson. Don't fuck with these dudes, these COs upstate, because they will kill you. So basically, after I was in downstate for like a month, then they sent me to Sing Sing. And Sing Sing was a whole nother drama, man. When I got to Sing Sing, I went to B Block. And it's just like, just like the movies. You go in the block, see the big cells going all the way up, going down. I ended up on T Gallery, and that right there just changed my whole perspective of jail, because it was like my first week there. I woke up early in the morning, man. I never forget it. It's probably like around 5 in the morning. I wake up to hearing somebody screaming. And I'm like, what the hell? And the only thing I hear is like this guy screaming so bad that he ended up going hoarse. And I could just hear, like bones breaking. So I get up, I go to my cell bar, I stick my little mirror out, and I look down the hall, and a bunch of COs is beating this kid. Yeah, he couldn't have been no older than like 18. Beating him and beating him and beating him, and he started screaming, my arm is broken. It's like these people, they didn't have no sympathy on this dude, They had him handcuffed behind his back, just beating him and beating him. And it got so bad, they actually broke the stick on his leg. And y'all know those batons, it takes a lot of pressure to actually break those sticks. They actually broke the stick on his leg. And the man, like I said, he couldn't have been older than 17. and I'm actually looking at this, witnessing this. Then they drag, because everybody knows that's in Sing Sing, you got the center gate. They actually dragged this man down the stairs by his feet, down to what we call where the OIC was at on Q Gallery. Still beating him. You can still hear it from upstairs, and everybody's screaming on the gate. But there's actually nothing that we could do now. If this guy would have even tried to fight back, not only would he have got a worse than ass whooping, but he would have got a brand new charge. So, I went through that, man. I actually seeing, people getting stabbed, killed, and, so I had to make up my mind if I was going to get with the program or I was going to get lost, you know what I'm saying? And like I tell everybody, it's two different worlds. It's this world that you have out here, and then it's that jail world. That's a totally different world. It ain't nothing like these streets. And that's what I try to tell these, these young kids that, they say that they don't want to work for minimum wage. Don't want to work for minimum wage. But you would rather not work for minimum wage, go out and sell drugs, go out and commit a crime, just to go to jail to make 16 cents an hour. It doesn't make logical sense. I would rather work minimum wage out in the street than to go to jail and make 16 cents an hour. After I left Sing Sing, I went to Napping That. When I was in Napping That, I played football. I was in North Hall. And I started, getting back into my religion, which is Islam. And, I found comfort in that, and that basically, steered me in the right direction. I didn't go off to the wrong direction. I got back into my Islam. I started studying, and I basically got back into the swing of things of being a Muslim. But if I would have had that guidance when I was on the street, I probably would have never did what I did. But, in Islam, we don't believe in that if I could have, should have, would have. The fact of the matter is that it wasn't decreed for me to do, so I didn't do it. So basically when I got to Napping That, I started going to Juma. I started listening to the khutbahs. And, I never forget, his name was Imam Latif. He had invited me to come back down to Juma because he was like, brother, you need to get back into your religion, man. 'Cause that's the only thing that's going to save you in this penitentiary. I got back into my religion. I started studying. I got my Arabic up to par. So now I actually know two languages. Now I know English and I can speak fluent Arabic. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was still in the street because I wasn't practicing it like that. So now I can speak Arabic and I can speak fluent English. So now I'm able to read, books that are all in Arabic, and I'm able to read the English translation. So I wasn't getting like no type of watered down Islam. And so basically what happened is that I was studying and studying and studying. Then my knowledge of Islam started increasing. And then, I started taking on different positions, behind the wall, starting inspiring brothers, to get back into their Islam. Then I ended up doing khutbahs, and inspiring brothers to, return back to Allah, and to eat healthier, to make better choices in life. And, sharing my experiences of being on the street, selling drugs and, doing stuff that I should have never have been doing. But like I said, everything is decreed by Allah, so it was meant for me to do what I did to land me where I was at. So, basically as time went on, I went from Napping That, I went to Attica, I went to Green Haven, I went to Wendy's, then I ended up in Collins, then I went to Mount McGregor, then I went to Mid-Orange, and then my last stop was Hudson Correctional Facility. And by that time there, I had went to college and jail. I don't know why they stopped, college and jail, but a lot of places they don't do it no more. But when I was in jail, we was able to go to college. People was getting degrees, master's degrees, bachelor degrees, associate's degrees, and they basically cut that out. So as all of this time, is going on, I just want to make one point here, is that when you do a crime, they send you to jail. And this part right here is kind of emotional for me because, it's serious. When you do a crime, they say we're going to send you to jail and we're going to send you to corrections. And corrections is supposed to be for you to correct your behavior. But I will say this, man, I've met thousands and thousands and thousands of brothers that are never coming home. They'll never get this opportunity that I got right now speaking to you. They'll never, ever, ever get this opportunity again because they made one mistake, and that one mistake cost them the rest of their lives in jail. And then there's those individuals that go to jail and they go to get corrected. They do 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Excellent behavior. Take every single damn program that those people give you, ART, AVP, everything ASAT, everything that they ask you to do, you do. You have a clean record. And then you go see the board and they don't recognize none of that. They don't recognize you staying out of trouble, not knowing that you got it, that for 10 years you tippy-toeing through jail, trying to stay out of trouble, trying to stay out of these CO's way. Because like I said, if you defend yourself, you're getting a new charge. You're tippy-toeing, you're doing all of this stuff for 10, 15, 20 years. Going to school, going to college, getting a master's degree, taking every program they ask you, and then when you go in front of the board, they don't recognize none of that. They smack you with 2 years. What does that? How does that affect somebody's psyche, man? I did 10 years. I did everything that you asked me to do. Got my GED, got my associates, got my bachelor's, got my master's degree. Took every type of damn program you asked me to, and then I go to the board. Only thing you want to talk about is something that happened 15 years ago. I understand we got to talk about that, but you're not talking about my sole purpose of coming to jail is to be corrected. So now that I corrected myself, you don't want to hear none of that. You don't want to hear none of this stuff. I bring you a folder full of certificates. You don't want to hear none of that. 2 years. And it's so bad is that some individuals go in front of these people not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, not 6 times, not 7 times. So like I said, man, so you're going to these boards all of these times, and every time you ask them, okay, so what is it that I could do different so the next time that I come in front of you, I'll have a favorable decision? They always tell you, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that. So you're going in front of them 2 years after 2 years after 2 years. So my question is, after I came to see you 2 times, you don't hit me with 4 extra years added onto my sentence. I don't took every program that you have in jail. I don't got every certificate that you got. What is there left for me to do? What else can I possibly do for you to let me out? And they always say, I don't know. So it hurts us is that here it is, I came to jail with a certain sentence and I don't got more time in on hits than I actually came to jail with. So what type of corrections is that? How do I come to jail with 10 years and I got 10 years in hits? I mean, that's just, it's just ridiculous. And then another sour thing, and like I said, this makes me emotional because I've actually, slept next to people. I've actually been in cells with people. And, one of my proteges in jail is a brother named Ali Abdul Khalik, Ali Brathwaite. Man, yo, this brother, man, I love this brother. He's like a big brother to me, man. And when I used to just think about some of the stuff that this brother used to go through. Yeah, so like I said, man, my boy Ali, man, Ali Brathwaite. Never forget this brother, man. I love this brother. He's like a big brother to me, man. And, I was with this brother for years, man. And this brother, he is an example of what I'm talking about, man. This brother, he actually created programs in there. He ran programs in there. Hardly ever got a ticket. And I've witnessed this brother, every time he goes to the board, they would hit this brother, and it's frustrating. And I'm just so glad that they let the brother out, because the brother right now, man, he's doing big things, man. He writes books. And the beautiful thing is that a lot of the books, I was there for. I sat right there, and watched the brother, by the help of Allah, create these books, man. And he was a prime example of somebody that they just kept hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting for no reason. For no apparent reason other than the nature of his crime. But but all of the establishments that he did in jail and all the programs and success that he had in jail, that didn't have no bearings, man. Same thing with the brother Abdul Aziz. And I can name thousands of brothers that are just like that, and brothers that are still in there, that's constantly just getting hit and hit and hit and hit and hit at the board, and basically at a certain point, man, you just ready to give up. And jail is not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be exactly what it says, corrections. And then another, situation that I had a hard time with, and I think by the grace of Allah that he got me through it, is that, while you're in there, you're taking all of these classes to prepare you to come home, and so that when you come out, you're being a model, citizen, you don't get back into what you was into before. So you're preparing yourself, you're studying, you're getting your GED, whatever you got to get, your college, you're getting all of this stuff. Okay, so the day comes, man, that they finally let you go, either you CR or for some reason they have mercy on you and they let you out. The day comes that you get out, and you come home, you're happy, they tell you that they have all these programs waiting for you when you get out. That's the biggest lie ever, and I'm the first to tell you that. That's the biggest lie ever. You did all these years in jail for a crime that you committed. Okay. I want the corrections to be corrected. So now I'm corrected because they let me out. So now I'm coming back to be a model citizen. So I get out. They tell me they got all these programs for me, which is a total lie. I get a suit. I have all my certificates. I go on my first job interview. Ask me, have I ever been convicted of a crime? Yes. We're not hiring. Go to 40, 50, 60, even sometimes 70 interviews. Nobody's hiring me. Why? Because I'm a convicted felon. So now I can't get a job. So how am I supposed to support my family? How am I supposed to buy clothes? How am I supposed to eat? How am I supposed to get transportation? Okay, I go down to welfare, which I did. They put me in a back-to-work program. I was working at a senior citizen home out there, like on Holland Boulevard. What does that do for me? What, I gotta stay on that I'm gonna have to stay on that for the rest of my life because I can't get a job. Ain't nobody hiring me. I go to Best Buy, I go to Target, I go to all these places. Nobody's hiring me. So the average individual says, well, I can't get a job, then I got to go back to what I used to do. You understand what I'm saying? I got to go back to what I know best, how to get money, and that's hustling. And then by hustling, you're going to end up back in jail, making 16 cents again. So my advice is, there's always something out here to hustle. It don't have to be illegal, it could be legal. So what I decided to do is, I decided to hustle energy. I decided to get into the energy game where I don't got to worry about nobody discriminating me because I made a mistake when I was 22 years old and I'm 42 now. You understand? I don't got to worry about nobody looking down on me, sticking their nose down on me because I made a mistake over 20-something years ago. I went to jail, I did my time, I paid my debt to society, and I come out here with a new vision. I don't got to worry about none of that. And I basically went from ashes all the way up, man. So I basically will say that even though we have these stereotypes against us, we have these roadblocks, there's always a way to get around it. You got to use this. You can't let nobody keep you down. You can't let the society keep you down because we're mentally strong. We got to be able to rise above that. And that's why I say a lot of people like myself, a lot of other people that come out of jail that make it successful, we got to be that platform for the other brothers that's coming out of jail that don't have that opportunity to grab them out of the streets and show them that there's another way besides going back to jail and making 16 cents an hour. You understand? So, like I said, man, that jail stuff, man, is for the birds. But the reality is that this is the society that we live in. And am I safe? I'm absolutely not safe. Because I could walk right to the corner, I could walk right around the block, I could be driving in my car and get pulled over, and just because of my record, I gotta go spend the night in jail. And it could be something that I didn't even do. You understand what I'm saying? It's just my record. I'm a candidate. So, things gotta change, man, in order for us to, progress, man. And we as people in general, we gotta wake up, man. That prison industrial complex is not good. There's a lot of things going on in there that a lot of people don't know about. There's a lot of people in there being beaten, being killed. And I remember this, and I never forget this. When I was in Wendy's Correctional Facility in Buffalo, I was in E Block, and I locked right next door to Larry Davis. May Allah Ta'ala preserve his soul in Jannah. I locked right next door. Larry Davis was in one cell, I was in two cells. He was in E Block, Honor Block. And me and his brother used to talk every night. He told me, all y'all know who Larry Davis is, the one from the Bronx. And he used to tell me, he used to be like, yo, James, man. He used to be like, man, I'm never gonna get an opportunity, man, to ever walk those streets again, man. And he was like, you're gonna get the opportunity to get back out there. And he used to tell me, he used to be like, listen, man, I want you to take this experience that you learned in him, man, and go out there, man, and get those young brothers off the streets, man. Because this is only going to kill them. And he told me that day, I remember the last day I seen him, because I got my classification changed. I was going down to a meeting. I was going to Collins. And he told me, he said, yo, he said, James, he said, it was nice knowing you, brother. And he was Muslim too. He was like, it was nice knowing you, brother. But he said, I'm going to die in here. I said, what you mean, Larry, you're gonna die in there? He said, I'm gonna die in there. This is where I'm gonna die. And I would say about 4 or 5 years later, he ended up dying in jail. He got killed in Shawanga. But I would say this about being with him for almost a year, knocking next to him, he had a brilliant mind, man. He was so good in the law that he could have been an actual lawyer if he would have ever got out. That's how good he was in the law. Even though, he had a lot of bad stuff with him, people say a lot of bad things about him. But I locked next to him for a whole year, so I really got to know the brother. And he's no longer with us. And like I said, I locked next to a lot of strong-minded people that's never ever coming out of jail again. That came to jail when they was 15, 16, 17, 18. That's still up there right now as we speak. So I just want to let everybody know, man, let's take this opportunity, man, and let's live life, man. Let's enjoy what we got, this freedom that we got, and never take any of this for granted. The reasons why I went to jail, man, I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, apologize for those situations. And only Allah, as Wajalla, could forgive me for those situations. But I was young, stupid, and I was in those streets. And if there was anything that I could do to change those, I would do it. But I know that can't happen. So for those individuals and peoples and situations, man, as I said before, I apologize. And that's coming from the heart. I'm gonna let everybody know there's gonna be a part 3 to this, and that's gonna be, basically getting into some more happier times. When I basically got onto my job, and I started making all that money. And basically saving lives, because that's what we do, man. We deregulate all day, every day, and we save lives out here. That's our mission, to get these kids off the street, whether you're black, white, Chinese, green. If you can't get a job, you know what I'm saying, you come and hit the billy goat up, man, and I'll get you a job. You might not like what I do. You might think that what I do is not conducive, but what I do is $1 trillion business. And there's people out here making millions and millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars doing it. So, if you ever need a job and, you're coming home from jail and these guys are keep slamming doors in your face, I'm here for you, bro. Just give me a call. My number is 1917-860-9942. I say it again, 1917-860-9942. And we giving jobs out every day, all day. Syndicate, that's me. You want to get down with it, we welcome you, man. And basically, everybody have a good day, enjoy life. I want to give a shout out to Vintage. I want to give a shout out to Fist Taylor. I want to give a shout out to King Just. I want to give a shout out to the whole Staten Island, because that's what I represent. Staten Island, New York, the borough, Shaolin, the borough, Stapleton, New Brighton, Park Hill, Manus Harbor, Toad Hill, Arlington, all those places. This is where I started at, and this is what I'm gonna try to recreate out here, man. Something nice and glorious for everybody. So with that being said, until our next course, have a nice day.